So we'll see what is research. Okay. So when we are talking about what is research, when we are talking about what is research, it's a very basic question. So there is a question and you want to find an answer to that question, and then you are using a systematic method for that. So whenever you use a systematic method to arrive at an answer for a question, it's called as a research. So then, should research only be serious? No, not necessarily. Your research can be of various types, but that is going to depend on your goal. So whatever your goal is for research, whatever you want to find out, that is what will say whether your research is going to be serious or not. But it doesn't mean you cannot do a serious research on a simple topic. So, say for example, what is the favorite flavor of ice cream? What is the favorite ice cream for people, right? So, this need not be a, uh non-serious study. So, still you can do serious research on non-serious topics, right? So, what kind of research you're going to do, right? What kind of research you're going to do depends on your goal of research, or in other words, that is what we call as objective. So, objective is the foundation stone of our research. So, objective is the foundation stone of our research. Without objective, we will not be able to get a proper research. So before we finalize our objective, we need to work on something called as our research area. So we need to work on something called as a research area. So what is our research area? So our research area is, say for example, if you are dealing with communication research, so you can say social media, or you can say films, or you can say data journalism, like or development journalism. You can say political stories like this, whatever interests you, international relations. So, whatever interests you, that area is what we define as research area. So, the first thing we want to fix is our research area. So, if you are starting your research, you want to find out where your interest lies, and you should be able to do it. Say, for example, you have no access to internet, or you are not there in the, you don't have access to any papers or anything, then it might be difficult for you to pursue international relations. So, your research should be doable, as well as you should have certain interest in your research area. Once you have chosen your research area, then you can go about doing your fixing your objectives. But before that, there's something called as review of literature. So we'll come to these things slowly, but now we have been introduced to the idea of research area, and then objective and review of literature, right? So how do we start our research? So say for example, you are going to travel. But if you don't know where you want to go, if you don't know, like, for example, why are you going to a particular place? You want to go on a vacation, you want to be relaxed, you want to relax on this trip, you want to have a spiritual journey, you want to trek, you want to go to a hill, you want to go to a beach. Like this, you should have something in your mind. Without knowing anything, if you say, I just want to travel, I don't know where, then there are so many directions. You are here in this particular area, and then there are so many directions and so many places that you can go to, right? So we need to know, okay, I need to go to a beach, I need to go to a hill station, I need to go for trekking. Then you can uh, finalize some area, and then you can uh, reduce the scope, and then you can go to a particular place. So that's why you need to know at least where you are going, or what is the reason that you want to go to a particular, you want to take the vacation. If you don't know this, you are in Chennai, then you can go for any place. You can go to Sri Lanka, you can go to Andaman, you can go to Pondicherry, you can go to Delhi, you can go to Himalayas, you can go to all these places. But you need to know how many days you have in hand, how much is your budget, how are you going to travel, air travel, or you're going to take a ship. So all these things will decide where you can go, correct? So say for example you want to go to a beach, then you know you can go to Goa, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, all these places, but you will not go to Delhi because Delhi doesn't have a beach, right? So similarly, that is how you should work with your research as well. When you are starting your research, you have to know what is your interest. Without finding an interest, you simply cannot say I want to do a research because it is mandated for me to do a research. I should finish it within 2 months, so I want to do a research. If you come like that without knowing the area, it will be like a you are blindfolded. You don't know which direction you are going to go. So first we have to find what interests us. Okay, it can be international relation, it can be anything, right? So whatever interests us, we have to find that out. So then we can do our research. So just a minute. Okay, whatever interests us, we should be able to find it. So I'm interested in international relation means you can go there. So that will help you to choose a particular area. So once you are done with the area, then you will start focusing on the problem. In international relation, you have so many issues to cover. So there is a war going on right now. There are so many wars going on right now. There is international politics. There is border issue like this. Then you can focus on a problem. Without doing this, simply if we just choose some research, it will be difficult for you. So right now there is elections happening. So uh, the voter turnout is huge. In Tamil Nadu, you have 84%. In West Bengal, you have 90%. So if all these things are happening, so you can have a question, okay, why did suddenly the voter turnout increase? That is a very valid research question. Then we have to follow a systematic method to reach an answer for this question. So this can be your objective, right? So a research is, when we are doing our research is built upon objective, which is indeed built upon your research area. So without having a proper research area or your objective, you simply cannot build your house in a air. You need some foundation. So if you don't have the foundation, then you cannot build this house called research. So you have to start with your research area and then you have to find your objective. Before finding your objective, that is when, as soon as you are done with your research area, you will find out what other people have done in this area. So once you have found out your research area, you will find out what other people have done on this research area, and that is what we call as review of literature. So whatever others have done in this area before you, that is what we call as review of literature. So once we review the existing literature in the area, then we find something called as a research gap. We find this research gap, then we start working on it. But first we have to find the research area, then we do a review of literature, and then we find what is our objective, and then we work on our research, right? So without your research gap, without your research gap, it is very difficult to do your research. So we have to find our research area, then we have to do the review of literature, then find research gap, and then choose the objective, and then build our research on top of that. So let us see a small example. So there is a person who goes to buy ice cream in his small car. So he has this car, he's going to get ice cream. So every time he gets chocolate ice cream, the car starts. But every time he gets vanilla ice cream, the car doesn't start. So that is the problem. So for this problem, you cannot say the car likes chocolate, that's why the car starts, and the car doesn't like vanilla, so the car doesn't start. No, we have to follow something called as the systematic method. So without following the systematic method, we cannot come to a conclusion. So what will be the systematic method? So how much time does it take to buy a chocolate ice cream? How much time does it take to buy a vanilla ice cream? Okay, the time for vanilla ice cream is considerably higher. So then if we can, without even buying the chocolate, we have to wait and see whether the car starts if you wait for 20 minutes. If it doesn't start, then we know that there is nothing to do with ice cream, but rather how long the car is in a turned off position. So that is what decides whether the car starts again or not. It is having some temperature issues. That is what we will find out with our systematic method. So again, the car starts in summer, doesn't start in winter. So all these things we'll take into account, and then we'll follow a systematic procedure. We will not come to blind conclusions. We will not come to blind conclusions like car likes chocolate, car doesn't like vanilla, right? So this is the process of research. So we have a question, we follow a systematic method, and then we arrive at the answer. So this is research in short. Thank you.